It's about the hot hand. Fordham just trying to identify who that's going to be at this given moment.
Xavier Brown, the freshman from right here in Philly, starts off the offense, kicks inside to Reynolds. He's stuck in midair. Medor guarding, and that's no good. So another defensive stop for the Fordham Rams. 14 minutes to go in the first half. They still trail 10-2, but 8 points, Colin, could be something they come back from. Kyle Rose driving inside on Esondoko and gets it to go. The crossover and the finish for Rose. Here's St. Joe's coming the other way. It's Reynolds, the second. Sixth in the A-10 in scoring. Kicks over to his teammate, Xavier Brown. Finkley with it now into the post for Esondoko, and it's stolen away by Josh Rivera. He's on the ground. Jaffe Medor has the basketball. Euro step in transition. And it's going the other way. No call on the play. So Jaffe Medor turns it over, and St. Joe's will take it their way.
And that's a turnover that just can't afford to happen. Jaffe Medor really struggled to get towards the painted area there. He's an experienced guy. With where Fordham is in their season, he needs to be able to take the ball to the hoop and finish it cleanly at this time.
100%. Xavier Brown, left wing, gets it back from Esondoko. They almost fumbled a handoff. The Rams weren't paying attention. Esondoko to Reynolds the second, and he's fouled hard by Antrell Charlton. Esondoko diving to the rim, the receiver of the contact.
Right now, Fordham shooting at a 22% clip. St. Joe's at a 36% clip. But remember, they started this game on fire. They led 10-0, only a 10-4 game now, but Fordham trying to scrap their way back into this one.
Here's St. Joe's. Xavier Brown, left corner, three, rolls in and out. The rebound tipped away by Kasper Klajek, and he's got it in the right corner now. The Polish forward spinning and finding his cutting teammate, Anthony Finkley. That's a really tough finish through the painted area.
And that's such a tough finish that time by Finkley. The freshman, 6'6", 240. Fordham may not have an answer for his size.
Richardson, right wing. 18 seconds on the shot clock. Fordham's got to get going. 12:30 on the game clock as Ramad Dean drives inside, gets some contact. It's rebounded and put back up by Rivera. No good, so Dean gets it on the third try and puts it in for the Rams. It's 12-6. Hawks ahead. 12-12 to go in the first half.
You got to chase offensive rebounds every time, Kris.
Here's Klajek for three. He's wide open, and he'll knock it in. Kasper Klajek, 15-6. Hawks, 12 minutes to go in the first half of play. Charlton kicks to Richardson, and the Rams shooting 25% from the floor and need to get something going. Rivera driving baseline, hop step inside, no good off the left iron, and rebounded by St. Joe's. It's ahead to Klajek. He wants to put it up, and he'll pass it out. No, he won't. The fake pass turns to a hook, and that's a score for Kasper Klajek, the junior forward from Chorzów, Poland.
Pace is starting to intensify, Kris. You got to figure that will benefit the Hawks. They're the smaller team. They're also the quicker team.
Yeah, the Hawks starting 4 guards and a forward. No small ball well. Here's Ramad Dean, left wing, three, no good. Rebounded by Klajek, and he's off and away for the Hawks. Into the hands of Finkley, layup in transition. Coach Ergo wants a timeout. He's livid with his defenders right now, but he'll step away and just talk to his coaches for a bit. Here's the Hawk flapping its wings as always, running laps around the court. Colin, a hectic start to this one. The Hawks up 19-6.
Fordham is going to have to start playing Fordham basketball. At the moment, the Hawks are running rampant all over them. We'll have to see if Coach Ergo can find an answer.
Well, Colin, we'll see right after this media timeout if they have that answer, if they can answer that call. But for right now, it's Griffin Stevenson back in the Bronx, ready to give you a scoreboard update. Take us away, Griffin.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
It's a great Saturday to be a basketball fan with various games across college and the pros. Starting in ranked play, it's a battle of the G's as the 24th-ranked Florida Gators take on the 18th-ranked Gamecocks in South Carolina. Florida leads 37-31 at the half. Staying in the South, the 7th in the nation Kansas Jayhawks are looking to spoil the mood of the Baylor home crowd as they take on the 15th-ranked Bears in Waco at 1. Moving into the A-10, it's a battle towards the top of the conference as the Patriots of George Mason look to defend home court against the Duquesne Dukes. Switching from Dukes to Revolutionaries, George Washington heads to Philly to challenge the LaSalle Explorers. Both of those games tip off at 2 o'clock. Checking in with Fordham women's basketball, they look to end their regular season with a W at our very own Rose Hill Arena as the Rams take on LaSalle. Tip-off is set for 2:30. If you're looking for afternoon plans, tune into today's 3 o'clock matchup between the Brooklyn Nets and Atlanta Hawks at the Barclays Center as both teams search for play-in opportunities. I'm Griffin Stevenson with your one-on-one scoreboard.
Welcome back inside Hawk Hill. It's the Hagen Arena, the home of this A-10 afternoon action. Saturday, March 2nd brings you lots of things. You know, the first weekend day of March, Colin, some good weather, an opportunity to get outside. But first and most importantly, A-10 basketball. It's 19-6 here with the Hawks in the lead. And what strikes me the most off the stat sheet here at our under 12 timeout, simply the fact that Fordham has 1 assist as a team. They're 3 of 14 from the field and 0 of 4 from downtown. Nothing is working for them to start.
And Fordham is not a great passing team, so to speak, Kris. They have a couple of different guys who can score at will, such as Jaffe Medora. Kyle Rose has gotten better off the dribble. But for the most part, they really haven't been good at playing that sort of rhythmic style. St. Joe's, by contrast, very good at playing as a cohesive unit. We were scared coming into this one that Fordham was not going to have an answer. That is, if you're a Ram fan, Eric Reynolds has been good, but the team as a whole has been better for St. Joe's.
And Charlton on the ground before he was able to start the offensive possession. He gets a whistle. St. Joe's with a foul there. Foul is on number 23, Anthony Finkley, the freshman from right here in Philadelphia, 6'6", 240. One heck of a frame for Finkley. So for Finkley, 2.5 points a game this season, and now a foul in this one, but he's had a couple timely buckets early on. Charlton, right to left, now finds Rivera on the left wing. He's driving inside with some purpose, but gets stuck. It's stolen away by Eric Reynolds, the second. He's off in transition. Will Richardson tried to block it. He had 2 blocks last time out, but no good.
Reynolds so good when you get him in stride like that. Coming off of a 21-point performance at VCU, was 6 to 10 from range in that one.
Richardson inside, bails to Rivera. It's 21-6 Hawks with 10:20 to go in the first half. The Charlton pass to Rose, bounces out of Rose's hand. Now it's in the hands of Lynn Greer III. Left corner 3 from Cameron Brown, no good, so Will Richardson will take it the other way for Fordham. Kyle Rose in transition, lays it up and in off the glass. Fordham with a timely bucket. 10 minutes to go in our first half. They trail 21-8.
That was a needed bucket for Fordham, especially after the initial turnover. You can't afford to get too cute now.
Here's Reynolds to Finkley, driving inside, overhead pass to Cosper. Now 2 defenders inside on Greer, and just too much contact. So Cameron Brown going to be the one who heads to the free throw line. Abdu Timbilla whistled for the harm. It's been a bit of a run here for St. Joe's. You take a look at the stat sheet, you can see they're on a 9-2 run in the last 2 minutes and 9 seconds, Colin. 9-2 when you already started with such a great margin of victory is tough to stomach, but here they are at the free throw line ready to tack on 2 more.
And I think that's part of the reason why, if you're Coach Ergo, if you're a member of the Fordham staff, you live with the contact when a St. Joe's player is going up to the rim at this juncture of the game.
Well, the first free throw, good for Cameron Brown. Good. Co-most improved player of the Big Five last year. They do their own awards here in Philadelphia, so definitely a recipient of that co-MIP is Cameron Brown. Second free throw up and in. LaSalle, St. Joe's, 2 of the Philly schools in the A-10. The others, of course, not. Villanova. Charlton heading the other way for Fordham. 9:40 to go. 23-8 the score. Zimbilla inside. Brown, the only person on him. He muscled free and got one to go, but the referee said he stepped out of bounds first. So Abdou Zimbilla with an unforced turnover gives another chance to the Hawks.
And if it wasn't going to be called out of bounds, it was certainly going to be called a travel, Kris. You can't take that many steps onto the bucket.
Finkley over to Reynolds. Now it's Klajic. Xavier Brown, right corner. Bails to Cameron Brown. And the Hawks are moving the ball in a circle around the court. It's gone 2 times now. Greer airballs the left wing 3, but Klajic has it again. Puts it up and in for St. Joe's. Kasper Klajic doing so much for this Hawks team. He led Poland to silver at the 2019 FIBA Under-18 competition, and that international experience, that physical play is showing here. Gray, spinning, fading jumper. Nothing but net for Elijah Gray. The Fordham sophomore makes it 25-10 with 8:45 to go.
And Fordham finally at the 10-point mark. They're going to have to do more than just that, though.
Cameron Brown inside. Antrell Charlton whistled for the foul, and the layup is good. 27-10. The St. Joe's margin of victory is 17 with 8 minutes and 39 seconds to go in the first half. And as the freshman Jameer Tripp checks in for Will Richardson, the Hawks are running away with this one early, Colin.
It's going to be interesting to see what combinations they try to turn to down the stretch. You're at the point where you cannot afford to let St. Joe's lead bubble up any further. You're going to need your best offensive lineup out there without sacrificing defensive intensity.
Well, Colin, the free throw is good for Cameron Brown, so the three-point play traditionally wrapped up by him. Medor with it now for Fordham. It's 28-10 with 8.5 minutes to go. Kyle Rose gets it off the screen, dishes inside to Eli Gray. He puts it right up and gets stuffed by Anthony Finkley. Finkley, the freshman averaging just 0.2 blocks per game, sends that one back to the sender.
St. Joe's came to play today, man. They are not messing around. They knew that they were going to be going up against a Fordham team that was feeling pretty good about themselves. 2 wins in a row, but with an 18-point lead, you got to believe Coach Lang and company love where they are as we inch closer towards the break.
Here's Xavier Brown. Kicks to Finkley on the left wing. St. Joe's can take their time, but Reynolds will shoot this three. No good. Nothing but air there, but the home crowd doesn't even seem to mind. With the 28-10 lead right now, they can afford a couple more air balls. Ramad Dean inbounds to Jaffe Medor. And the Rams come back and begin now if they wanted to. Medor, right wing, looking for a teammate, crosses over, almost loses it to the bigger Finkley. Medor, so little driving inside, but he's quick. Rose now attacking, left wing, spins, now inside, can't get the shot to go. Elijah Gray, second chance bucket for the Rams, 28-12, and Fordham needs to hustle back on defense. It's Lynn Greer III already with it in the right corner. He'll pull up and can it. Lynn Greer III takes advantage of the sagging defense and makes it 31-12 Hawks.
And that series event's a perfect example of taking 1 step forward and then 2 steps back. You have to get back more quickly on defense.
Trip to Medor in the left corner. Pulls up for 3. No good is Jaffe Medor. It's 31-12. 7:14 to go in the first half of play, and Xavier Brown running the other way. He's going to get this started. Lynn Greer III from the right wing. Driving inside. Now is going to bail. He won't. He'll spin and fade away. And oh my gosh, there was a foul on the floor. I think they whistled Medor for the foul. And that's a bail of a call for Greer because he was headed out of bounds and back on defense. He forced up a shot because he had to. And they whistled Medor for contact after the shot had already gone up. So the shot goes up. It's no good. Then the whistle blows.
Sloppy shot by Greer, and it goes to show where St. Joe's feels they are right now, up 31-12. Greer, an experienced player, has been around the block. They're going to start trying some things. They're going to get creative, Kris.
Yeah, I mean, 31-12 is the margin of victory right now. And, Colin, that's playing with house money. You come out to a start like this, Still 7 minutes left in this first half, but oh my, such an advantage. Well, we'll see how it goes when we return from this break, but as for now, you're listening to Fordham men's basketball on 90.7 FM WFUV Sports.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Lou Orlando.
And I'm Colin Loughran.
And we're two of your main hosts for WFUV Sports' NHL podcast, 5 on 3.
We'll keep you updated on the Rangers, Islanders, Devils, and of course, the Stanley Cup Final.
Home ice for all things NHL, 5 on 3.
Welcome back into the Hagen Arena, and as our lovely attendant here hands me a stat sheet, it's 31-12. St. Joe's over Fordham. The kid in the polo didn't appreciate being called lovely, so just an attendant, but okay. 31-12, the lead for St. Joe's. They're shooting 12 of 24 here in the first half. Fordham 6 of 20. No good, Colin, 30%. And you take a look at the assist column. I want to just highlight quickly. Fordham has 2 assists right now, and St. Joe's has 9. That's a difference that is worth at least 14 points and could probably explain a little bit of this 19-point deficit for the Rams.
St. Joe's has been swishing and dishing. Kris, you mentioned the 9 assists. Eric Reynolds has had a hell of a game so far. 3 of 4 from the field, 8 points to his name. Even someone like Lynn Greer has taken a lot of shots, has not been particularly efficient. 2 of 7 from the field, has 5 points. But when you're passing the ball, the way that St. Joe's has been passing the ball, you can afford to take some chances. You can afford to take a couple of those fancy step-back jumpers. We'll have to see if Fordham's able to make this thing tighter.
Well, Fordham's gotten forced into some three-point looks early on today. They're 0 of 5 on those attempts, and now St. Joe's with the ball down on their own offensive half. Because of the Medore foul, they get a fresh 20-second shot clock. Greer bounces it in for the Hawks, and it's Finkley with it outside. Eric Reynolds II finds Xavier Brown. These Hawks love moving the basketball. Brown driving inside, catches a forearm from Medore, but it's Klajic wide open for the two-handed jam. 6:40 to go in the first half. The Hawks lead 33-12.
That's unacceptable if you're a Fordham defender. You cannot let a St. Joe's player march into the paint like that.
Medore driving inside. It's a push-off. The offensive foul on Jaffe Medore. He drew contact and the play stopped. You thought they were going to reward him for driving inside at 6 foot flat and just 165 pounds, but he got knocked down to the ground, and it's a foul on him. So another foul on Medore. That's 2 early, and the Fordham Rams shooting 30% from the field and 0% from both the three-point arc and free throw line are down 33-12 with 6:18 to go, and there's Lynn Greer, the third. Oh my gosh, he caught everyone by surprise. Nobody thought the Hawks were even in their offensive set yet, and Greer just barrels down the lane and slams one in. Holy moly, Kyle Rose the other way now. He's stuck in the post. He needs Elijah Gray to curl off a screen and get it back from him. Jameer Tripp in the post. Dribbles off his own knee, now gets it back. Fordham in all sorts of disarray. Tripp inside, blocked, but draws the contact. It's 35-12. St. Joe's in the lead with 5:50 to go. Tripp stops the clock and has a chance to add 2 points to the Fordham total.
For as badly as Fordham needs a bucket, it won't make a difference unless they start to tighten up defensively. You cannot allow St. Joe's to run all over you and do whatever they want at will, Kris, especially after the 2 straight wins. You figured Fordham would come in with more intensity today. They haven't done so thus far, but credit to St. Joe's. They've been playing with a fire.
Well, Fordham shooting their first free throw of the day, finally hearing the boos of the home crowd as they take one from the charity stripe. Medore subs out, and no criticism from Ergo this time for Medore, so he's happy with his stint. Medore's seen a downtick in minutes as the second free throw no good for Tripp, and to nobody's surprise, the Hawks are already past half court. They're a quick team, Colin. They move so fast. Reynolds the second to Greer the third. Now to Klajic. Klajic to Reynolds on the left wing. He puts the three up over Elijah Gray and doesn't get it to go. Lynn Greer the third has the rebound, and now it's Finkley driving inside from the right wing. He pushes off on Kyle Rose, and now an offensive foul headed the other way. Finkley puts up 2 fingers to tell his coaching staff, that's my second foul, and because of it, he'll sit out for Christ Esandoko. So the Fordham Rams will inbound. And something funny here, this baseline referee is not happy with Ramad Dean today. He's always telling him to move over like just a foot so he can inbound the basketball.
He wants him to be in just the perfect spot.
Enforcing the technicalities. You gotta love it, Colin. Jameer Tripp to Kyle Rose with the handoff. Richardson now crossing over and pulling up from 3. No good off the front iron. Rivera tapped it out to St. Joe's, and now Klajic, the one-man show in transition, gets it to go with the left hand. It's 37-13. The Fordham Rams have 5 minutes left in this first half to mount a comeback. Kyle Rose with a sick crossover move and drive inside. The layup rolls off the outside of the rim. No bucket. He'll head to the line for 2. That was a great drive from Kyle Rose. Colin, you just almost feel weird giving credence to anything Fordham is doing on their attack right now, given how slow this start has been.
And looking by the Fordham bench, you can see Jameer Tripp getting an earful from Antrell Charlton, one of the senior leaders of this team now. Keith Ergo giving the freshman a piece of his mind as well. The best way you can describe this effort from Fordham is poor. It has not been a good effort from the Rams thus far. They're really going to have to reset at the break if they're serious about making any sort of comeback, Kris.
Well, Colin, in a season like this, it's not the worst to see someone like Jameer Tripp go through a trial by fire, just getting time out there on the court. Now he has the graduate student, Yole Akawovo, giving him advice. Kyle Rose made it 37-15 at the free throw line. So his free throw was good, and the second one as well. Inside to Esandoko. He's got Dean on him, and it's a foul on Dean right as Esandoko took the shot. I think, Colin, that the foul's on the ground, but it'll be a 1-and-1 here. The Rams already in the bonus, so that was Fordham's 7th team foul. Sorry, their 8th team foul. St. Joe's well in the bonus now, and it'll be Christ Esandoko, the redshirt freshman from Paris, France. 7 feet tall and weighing in at 285 pounds. I don't know if I believe that. He's slimmed down a little over the course of the season, it looks, but his first free throw is good, despite the best efforts of some well-traveled Fordham fans behind the hoop to distract him.
Christ Esandoko, what an interesting player build-wise, Kris. I mean, he's built like a tank, as you mentioned, 7 foot. Competed for Team Curry on the UAA circuit. Had 7.6 rebounds last time out at VCU. Had no fouls in 21 minutes, which is interesting to me. It's hard for a big man to stay that disciplined.
Yeah, young big man playing with such discipline. Well, his second free throw was good as well. So now it's Kyle Rose headed the other way. The score 39-15 as Rose loses it in the post. Klajic going the other way, and now it's a finish in transition from Lynn Greer III. These Hawks are running away with it. It's all St. Joe's early. Josh Rivera in rhythm. Spot up 3 from the top of the key. Clank off the rim. Kyle Rose, a second try. He's got it. A much-needed downtown make for Fordham makes it 41-18. St. Joe's with just 41 points here. You think maybe at the pace they're playing, they'd already have their game average of 80, but 41 for the Hawks as they move it to the left corner. Xavier Brown from downtown, no good. Rebounded by Richardson. The Hawks are averaging 74 points per game over their last 10. You can see why. The speed they play with is crazy. Rose, left wing 3, gets it to go. And now St. Joe's will call timeout. It's 41-21. The St. Joe's Hawks in the great 20-point lead, and that Hawk, Colin, always flapping its wings running around the court. The Hawk never dies, as they say, so the Hawks' wings can't stop flapping. It's 41-21, and Any quick thoughts from you?
Well, Kyle Rose has kept Fordham in this game, and I'm putting in big air quotes, Kris. Rose now with 14 points, 5 of 9 from the field, 2 back-to-back threes just now. If Fordham's going to survive and try to make something of this contest, it is likely going to be because Kyle Rose is going to carry them there.
Well, with 14 points, as you said, thus far, 2 of 4 from downtown, 5 of 9 from the floor, and even a perfect 2 of 2 from the free throw line. The only other Rams to score are Elijah Gray has 4 points, Jameer Tripp has 1, Ramad Dean has 2. So for the Fordham Rams, it's a total of 21. The Hawks have 41, and the big lead here at home early in this one. There's 3 minutes 32 to go in the first half. That means we'll be sending you to our studios in the Bronx for a second scoreboard update with none other than Griffin Stevenson. Griffin, tell the folks what you've got for them.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
It's a Saturday for hoops across the nation. In the South, it's the Birds versus the Bears as the 7th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks are looking to take down the 15th-ranked Baylor Bears in Waco. The game must head up at 4 apiece, 3 minutes in. Further north, 13th in the nation, Illinois heads to Madison, Wisconsin to face the Badgers. Illinois is up 3-2 with 18 minutes to go. In Carolina, the 24th-ranked Florida Gators lead the 18th-ranked Gamecocks 37-31 at the half. In the A-10, George Washington is hoping to revolutionize their season as they head to Philly to challenge the LaSalle Explorers. Near the top of the conference, the Patriots of George Mason look to defend home court against the Duquesne Dukes. Both of those games tip off at 2 o'clock. For Fordham women's basketball, they look to end the regular season with a W on senior night at Rose Hill. Tip-off is set for 2:30. I'm Griffin Stevenson with your one-on-one scoreboard.
Welcome back to Hawk Hill here in Philadelphia. I'm Kris Pursiainen alongside Colin Loughran. Excited to be taking you through this Saturday afternoon A-10 action. The score 41-21 with 3 minutes and 32 seconds to go in the first half of play. You saw last time out, Colin, Fordham trailed 19-18 at the halftime mark. One of the lowest scoring games I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it was a football score at the half. Now in this one, definitely still a football score, but a blowout, not a close game.
And you have to give credit where credit is due. St. Joe's has played an excellent game of basketball today. 24 points in the paint for a team that is supposedly one that lives and dies by the three. They've certainly made the most of their paint chances.
Well, here's Reynolds taking another. It's no good off the front iron and brought down by Ramad Dean. Fordham will get it here after it was knocked out of bounds by the Hawks. So for the Rams, a 20-point deficit in this possession. Their first crack at trying to reduce it. Will Richardson lets the ball roll up the court to save a couple seconds. Zach Riley's in the game. The Rams trying anything they can now. Riley been out of the rotation for a few. Rose, step back three from the right wing. Connects. Kyle Rose from downtown. He knocks another in. Brings him to 3 of 5 on the day, and now it's 41-24. Hawks in the lead. 2:45 to go in the first half.
Kyle Rose is pulling the Fordham offense at this moment, Kris.
Dunk from Greer, blocked by Ramad Dean at the cup, and it's a foul on St. Joe's. Will Richardson is in writhing pain. He's grabbing his eye and walking over to the side of the bench. I'm not sure if his nose is bleeding right now, but something is not right with Will Richardson's face. He just took some major contact. Keith Ergo coaching up Ramad Dean now. No time to waste here in Philly, down 41-24. And now the Rams have a teammate down. They've got a little something else to play for if the deficit wasn't enough to start. Richardson, can't even see him right now. He's just got a towel over his face. Do you hope he's all right? Rose, left wing, looking to spark the Rams some more. Taking Klajic inside, finds Medor wide open, left wing, no good off the front iron. Too short was Jaffe Medor, but the second chance bucket inside from Medor. He got his own rebound and put it up. He's 6 foot tall and 165 pounds. Jaffe Medor playing like a big man now as Fordham trails 41-26. The chance of defense from the fan section behind him as Klajic takes a three, no good. Medor with the tough rebound, and he's off and away in transition. Hop step, 1-2, fouled. Jaffe Medor didn't get a shot up, but he did draw contact. The Fordham fan section here in Philadelphia up on its feet, and the Rams are really fighting back.
Fordham has made the most of these last couple of minutes of the first half. Don't look now, they're trailing by 15. Medor makes a pair of free throws. That deficit will be cut to 13. That has a much different feel to it than being down by 20 or 25, especially considering Fordham was down big early.
Medor at the free throw line, puts up his first and hits the outside left iron. Medor shooting 72.2% from the charity stripe this season. No good on his first, so it's still 41-26. St. Joe's ahead by 15. That's 5 possessions for those counting at home, with 1 minute and 58 seconds to go in our first half of play. Both of these teams are in the bonus here, with St. Joe's having reached 7 fouls after bloodying up Will Richardson, still receiving attention over on the sideline. You can't see his face through that towel. The speculation is something with his nose. Reynolds to Brown, and St. Joe's now to try to re-expand this lead. Reynolds wide open for 3, kicks to the corner. It's Cameron Brown. Sidestep, no good from downtown. Zach Riley holds in the rebound, and Kyle Rose is out in transition. 41-27, the St. Joe's lead. Rose up top to Rivera. He'll shoot again from the top of the key. No good is Rivera. He's 0 of 2 from downtown now, and Reynolds taking it right to left for the Hawks. Here's St. Joe's, the fast-moving offense. Esandoko hits the deck, and he's back on his feet. Reynolds for 3 from the right wing, and several feet back from that line. Reynolds knocks it in.
Reynolds with a clean look, and I mean a clean look. You have to contest. You got to get a hand in his face.
44-27, under a minute to go. Kyle Rose pulls up from the top of the key for 3, and it's no good. Xavier Brown, the little guard, with the rebound. 6'2" freshman from here in Philly. His stepfather's associate head coach, Justin Scott, as he drives inside, puts it up, and puts it in for the Hawks. Xavier Brown now. Medor running the other way, gets it to go. Fordham Rams going 2 for 1, and they do, because Medor finishes instantly inside. 27 seconds to go, 46-29. The Joes lead. They're going to hold for the final shot. There's 20 seconds to go. Medor getting talked to by the near side official. Interesting. I want to see what the note was there. Xavier Brown driving now left corner for Cameron Brown. Back to Xavier. Back to Cameron Brown. Left wing 3 from Dover, and that's no good. He's upset about it, but St. Joe's can take a lot away from that first half. 46-29, the lead after the first frame. Colin, what do you think these Rams are thinking right about now heading into halftime? Take a look at head coach Keith Ergo. Our listeners can't see him, but they can imagine his sunken expression as he moseys on over to the locker room. Colin, what's Ergo's message going to be here at halftime, and what do the Rams need to leave in the first half?
Well, I think the message has to be something along the lines of, hey, listen, we're down by 17 points now. Guess what? The Hawks led by 26 at one point in this game. Now, obviously, it's not a huge difference, but from a tone perspective, 17 points is a lot different than 25 points plus. If you're able to cut it just a little bit more, this thing could get really close down the stretch. But to do that, you have to play your brand of basketball. You have to play Fordham basketball, as head coach Keith Ergo has been known to call it. That means mucking things up, Kris. That means being an intense force on the defensive end and not making silly mistakes on the offensive end of the court.
Well, Colin, here at the half, it's 46-29. The Hawks in the lead despite going just 1 of 7 on their last 7 3-point tries. The Rams came back a little bit. You know, it was a 20-point margin of victory for St. Joe's at one point. Fordham tightened that up a little bit, but not enough for it to not be a resounding lead here for the Hawks at halftime. There's no one better to break down this action here at the break than our two guys in studio. It's going to be Will Jing and Griffin Stevenson that you'll hear from after this. So as we send you back to our beautiful Bronx studios, it's Kris Pursiainen for Colin Loughran here in Philadelphia saying stay tuned. We'll see you in the second half for more of our afternoon A-10 basketball.
The one-on-one halftime report.
Welcome to the one-on-one halftime report. I'm Will Jing. I'm here with Griffin Stevenson. The game is currently 46-29. St. Joseph's on top at the Hagen Arena. And as we mentioned a little bit before the halftime show came on, Griffin, it's the Kyle Rose and Kasper Klejcik show depending on which team it is. Kyle Rose out here with 17. Klejcik out here with 11 points. He's 5 for 6. These two players have really showed out, but on the Fordham side, it's really just been Kyle Rose. I mean, Klejcik does have some help from a lot of the other players on his team, but Kyle Rose is really not getting much assistance at all. I mean, Jafet Medor has he has 5 points. He's 2 for 4, but other than that, not much is going on, and St. Joe's is just dominating.
I mean, yeah, like you said, we did touch on this before the game in our little preview that last game Fordham was able to win because there was a Kyle Rose show, but I do think there is going to be some issues if they weren't able to distribute the ball as much, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. Kyle Rose, 17 points. That is a 12-point gap to the second highest scorer on this Fordham team in Jafet Medor. And you look at this St. Joe's team, and they have two players in double digits in the form of Lynn Greer and Kasper Klejcik, but you even have a guy in Eric Reynolds at 8 points, so you can totally see how they're just distributing the ball a little better. And when you look at the stats, neither team is really shooting the three ball that well. St. Joe's 29% from the field, Fordham 23%. But the difference maker is in total field goals, where St. Joe's is almost shooting 50%. And I think that is going to be the difference maker if St. Joe's is going to finish this game out. Fordham has got to figure out what they're doing in regard to their offensive scheme.
And also, I mean, you look at not only the percentage that St. Joe's is shooting up, but the amount of shots they've gotten up. You can attribute that to the fact that Fordham has 9 turnovers. So if they continue this, they're going to have 18 turnovers by the end of the game. That's 18 extra possessions for St. Joe's. That's a lot of extra shots. And with the way Fordham is shooting right now, if they do that, there's no shot they're going to get back into the game, because unless they give Kyle Rose the ball just every possession, but then, I mean, dude's already got 18 minutes, so I don't know what more you want from Kyle Rose.
I agree. If I was Kyle Rose, I couldn't help but feel a little frustrated. And when I saw Will Richardson go down, I kind of held a sigh of despair, because sometimes he's not always there with his distribution, but when he is, he's one of the guys who you can put the ball in his hands and trust that he will facilitate and get more of those guys involved. And now on the commentary, I think Kris mentioned that it might have been a nose thing. He had a towel. So hopefully that's something that can get patched up and he can get back out there for the second half. But if I'm Fordham, I really want to keep attacking that basket. Right now, they're losing the points in the paint game. However, they're winning the second chance points game. So I think if they just keep going in there, they might keep attacking the rim. They should be able to even out that margin a little bit, and that's where their opportunities come from. Because at the end of the day, all hope is not lost yet. Granted, they are down 29-46, but at one point it was 41-15 with 4 minutes left in the first half. And so I think Fordham should be satisfied in the fact that they were able to at least close the gap before halftime.
I mean, Kyle Rose, dude has a real heavy backpack on right now because, I mean, listen, I know Will Richardson's hurt, but by the end of this game, if Kyle Rose has to keep doing this, he might have a broken back. So let's hope somebody's there to help him out a little bit more. I trust that somebody's gonna show up. I mean, I feel like it was just a slump of a half. Jafet Medor started playing a little bit better near the end of the half, so I think that's definitely somebody to look to for some assistance. I mean, he's the second highest scorer on this team on the whole season. Kyle Rose is 281 in the season. Medor has 273 on the season. So, I just think that, like we said, Kyle Rose just needs some help. But right now, if I'm Kyle Rose at half right now, I'm talking to the rest of the team. I'm saying, hey, look, I need some help, please, because right now I'm shooting 6 of 11. The rest of you have combined for 5 made shots, less shots than me, and less shots made than me. You guys have combined for 12 points. That's 5 less points than me. I need you guys to do something, because after a certain point, if you guys keep playing like this, I'm not gonna keep passing you the ball because you guys aren't making things happen. And I mean, this is at all levels, right? Like, even if a star player or one of the better scorers is a willing facilitator and somebody who's willing to pass the ball and trust his teammates, at a certain point, there comes a point where you have to say, look, you guys just aren't being efficient. I mean, we see this at the highest level with guys like LeBron and Kobe. I mean, especially Kobe, or like,
Yeah.
or somebody like Melo. I mean, these guys are known as quote unquote classic ball hogs, but I don't think they're really ball hogs. It's just that they don't have somebody that's gonna come through when it matters most. So they have to have the ball to themselves because they're the only ones that are gonna make something happen.
I couldn't agree more. It's almost shades of, I don't know if you saw, I think it was yesterday's game with the Bulls, Zach LaVine putting up 51 points, and apparently there was a players-only meeting afterward, but it's the same thing where you have Kyle Rose is in there, and he is dictating this offense to a certain point. And now the one thing I will say is that I don't think these Fordham players are completely oblivious to this. I think they'll get into that locker room at halftime, and there's obviously going to be some conversations about what we can fix. And I think at that point, this game can almost to a certain extent rest on Keith Urgo's shoulders, where it's up to him to rally his team and, I mean, deal with I'm sure there's some player frustrations in there, and I'm sure there are some guys that aren't happy, but I think Keith Urgo has to do a good job in getting there and make a great team talk, because I will say, like we said at the beginning in our preview, this Fordham team has always kind of been known for being a scrappy team, a come-from-behind team, and it is a mountain to climb for sure, but I think they need to at least go out there and give it their best shot, and I think there is a possibility that if they can figure it out, that they can come back and perhaps get a victory.
I mean, but there's only so much Keith Urgo can do, because between him and all the players, there's one guy that can't really do anything directly, and that's him, because he's doing the game plan. He's telling us players, hey, look, this is what we need you to do, and it's up to them to execute the game plan, play defense, make shots. So, Fordham, they just have to do something, and as a team, and no matter what Coach Keith Urgo, says, the players have to follow through. Somebody does have to step up. Again, I trust that somebody like Jafet Medora is going to step up. I trust that somebody who's been around for a while, a leader, and Antrell Charlton leading the team in assists this season. I trust that somebody like that is going to step up, especially even if Antrell doesn't have the best scoring game, he's always been willing to do the other things that help out the team, and I think that's been such a key factor to his success and his longevity here on the team, because he doesn't need to necessarily score the basketball to have an impact. I mean, the dude he might not be a prolific scorer, but he can score at all three levels, whether it's in the paint, in the mid-range, at the three-point line, and even when those are not falling, he can do all the other things. He could play defense. He can really do whatever you want him to do. So I think that's somebody to rely on. To wrap up this halftime show real quick, Griffin, tell me one thing that you're looking for from the Fordham side and from the St. Joe's side that each team can do to be better in the second half.
Okay, I'll start off with the Fordham side. The key word for this second half is accountability. As you mentioned earlier, 9 turnovers, and St. Joe's has 13 points off those turnovers. Fordham has 0 points off turnovers. I think they really have to clean up their game. I think they've been a little too sloppy in this first half, and if they can do that, they'll stand a chance. As for St. Joe's, what you would want to see out of them is consistency. You want them to keep their heads up and keep attacking, and don't get discouraged by this run that the Rams went on to end the half.
Absolutely. Well, that'll do it for this one-on-one halftime report with myself, Will Jing, and my friend to my right, Griffin Stevenson. We're going to send it back to St. Joseph's with Kris Pursiainen and Colin Loughran for the second half of this basketball game.
Hi, this is Michael Kay, WFUV class of 1982. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show, One on One. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV Sports.
Hi, my name is Ryan Rucco, WFUV class of 2008. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show, One on One. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV sports.
Welcome back inside Hagan Arena. It's Hawk Hill here in Philadelphia, and the Fordham Rams certainly have a bit of a deficit to work back from. I'm Kris Pursiainen alongside Colin Loughran, and it's 46-29 with just under 2 minutes until our second half gets going here. Colin, we just had a great halftime show back in the Bronx from Will and Griffin. Now it's our job to take it away here in the second half, and I want to talk briefly with you about just what you're expecting from Fordham in this second frame.
I'm expecting more energy, quite frankly. I felt Fordham started this game a step late. They never seemed to truly catch up to the pace that St. Joe's was bringing to the table. To me, the 14 assists tell the story for the Hawks. They've done a nice job of sharing the basketball. They've shot extremely well today, 48.6% from the field in the first half. 5 of 17 from range. Not a great clip, but anytime you make 5 3-pointers in one half, you're putting yourself in a position to win. And of course, they've been led by some senior leaders. Lynn Witter III, 12 points for him. And then as well, they've gotten contributions up and down the lineup. Even someone like Cameron Brown, while he only has 5 points, he's been a nuisance on both ends. Just his ability to know his own body, to move in certain directions, uncanny, especially at this level of mid-major basketball. For Fordham, you need to be more intelligent with the ball on the offensive end. You cannot cough the basketball up. 9 turnovers in the first half, unacceptable, especially given the low energy they had to start this one.
And 9 turnovers would be a great full game total for the Rams, except they eclipsed that mark in their first half of play. And so here at the halftime break, it's imperative for Fordham that they are efficient and effective with their possessions that they do have. 46-29, your score one more time. Fordham is 11 of 30 from the floor and just 3 of 13 from downtown. It is looking, though, from just the fact that he was out there during the halftime shoot-around, that Will Richardson should be available for the second half. So Richardson there on the Fordham bench next to Medor. Maybe a little tape on the nose, but nothing signifying that he won't be ready to play. That probably means no second half minutes for Zach Riley, who was inserted into the rotation after Richardson's injury there in the first half.
And if I'm Coach Ergo, I may go with whoever has the most intensity and whoever has the hot hand at a given moment. You need points.
Well, here's Fordham now for their first offensive attack of the second half. It's the freshman, Jameer Tripp, spinning inside, gets it up, but it's no good. Ramad Dean runs out to the right corner for the rebound and has it. He's in a triple threat looking for a teammate now. Antrell Charlton driving inside, pulling up from the deep mid-range, rattles all around the rim, but not inside, so that's no good. Still 46-29 as Xavier Brown barrels down the other way in transition, and it's ruled dead. We're going to see who the call's on. I think it's an arm bar on Jameer Tripp down low. So the freshman, Tripp, commits his first foul of the game, and that's the team's first foul of the second half. 19:28 to go. Greer, the third from the right corner, can't knock in the three. So Fordham will get a try here. Kyle Rose, quick in transition, right inside to Abdu Tsimbila. Here are the Rams playing to their identity as Abdu Tsimbila gets the post hook up and in.
And an intelligent find from Kyle Rose, kind of running the offense in that instance, pushing it up the court.
Well, he only had 14 points. I mean, you think maybe they need even more in the first half from him. Eric Reynolds to Greer, back to Reynolds. And now Greer at the top of the key will bullet pass it to the left corner. Xavier Brown stuck in between two defenders. Gets the ball knocked loose, and it'll stay with St. Joe's. 2 seconds on the shot clock. The Hawks have got to shoot something fast.
And if you're Fordham, you have to contain them. You cannot let them get off a good shot. Keep them outside the perimeter.
Well, it's inbounded inside to Brown. Forgive me. That's Fleming inside, and the shot was no good, but he drew contact right at the end. Coach Ergo irate with the near side official. The foul on Abdu Tsimbila. So that's his third of this game. Tsimbila with 3. Now you can see why Ergo's so upset.
And Coach Ergo certainly with a different style of coaching than Hawks head coach Billy Lang, Kris. As Billy Lang served as an assistant coach in the 76ers from 2013 to 2019, was also an assistant at LaSalle for 2 years in the 90s, so he has some deep roots here in this area. Very cool, calm, collected.
First free throw, no good for Fleming. The second, the opposite of make for the sophomore forward from Camden, New Jersey. Rasheer Fleming, close to home here in Philadelphia, even though it's across state lines. Charlton for Fordham, inside to Tsimbila, two-handed pass, two-handed jam. 2 easy points for the Rams. They're all in their defensive stances here as they bring a half-court press to the Hawks. Quick shot up at the rim is Reynolds, and it's no good. Jameer Tripp with the contest. St. Joe's gets it back, and they'll try again. It's Reynolds on the right wing, pulling up for 3. No good. Rebounded by Dean and Tsimbila both. Charlton with it now. Up to Tripp, the physical freshman. Crossover left to right. Now the left corner for Kyle Rose. Quick screen from Tripp. Gets it off the bounce, and the dive man's got the 2. Jameer Tripp. Thanks, Kyle Rose, for the dish. And he's got the swish. 47-35.
And Jameer Tripp with a tough first half, but makes an intelligent cut this time.
Kyle Rose with the steal. He'll pull up for 3 in transition and knock it in. Kyle Rose with 17:30 to go has brought the digits just like, oh my gosh, just like that. It's single digits. Fordham's down 47-38, folks. I can't even comprehend what's going on right now. The Rams are just rolling back into this game. 47-38, your score with 17:24 to go in this one.
Kyle Rose now up to 17 points. We talked about it, Kris. We had said that if Fordham was going to make a legitimate comeback, it would likely come with Kyle Rose leading the way. It's going to come down to how bad does the senior want it, how bad does Fordham want it on this afternoon in Philly.
Well, let's go Fordham chants, faint but audible, here in Hagen Arena. Keith Ergo, a quick checkup with a sideline official. So, you know, he's always working the refs, working the crowd, and just trying to have an impact on the game that's measurable play to play. You know the Rams put in so much work and practice to be at the level they want to be for these games. And sometimes you just need that extra push from coach. Colin, it's been a good one so far and a real fun comeback for the Rams here in the second half. We'll send it to a quick break before we resume our coverage. You're listening to Fordham men's basketball on 90.7 FM WFUV Sports.
Brian Gregory here, joined with Michael Calamari and Andrew Galata, 3 of your hosts for Nosebleeds, WFUV's only baseball podcast.
Tune in every week as we recap the latest from the Bronx and Queens, as well as news from around the MLB. You can listen to Nosebleeds on Apple, Spotify, WFUVsports.org, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Take a trip around the bases all season long with the Nosebleeds podcast on WFUV Sports.
And with that horn, welcome back inside Hagan Arena in Philadelphia. I'm Kris Pursiainen alongside Colin Loughran. Excited to be here bringing you coverage of Fordham men's basketball on the road at St. Joseph's University. It's 47-38, your score with 17 minutes and 24 seconds to go in our second half of play. And for the Fordham Rams, a bit of a surge offensively. A 7-0 run over a 76-second stretch brought them to where they are now, down by single digits on the road. Colin, this is the kind of game that this team loves to play.
They love to play the comeback kids when they can, Kris. Kyle Rose up to 20 points. Misspoke before our break, and Fordham shooting 4 of 6 to start the second half.
Well, here's Eric Reynolds, the second, the leading guard for St. Joe's. Inside to Kasper Klajic. Pass to, wow. Oh my gosh, no look, one-handed pass to Cameron Brown, the forward, for a real nice finish inside. It's 49-38, St. Joe's ahead. Charlton wanted Rose, can't find him. Inside to Simbila. He's being guarded tightly, but that's an and one for Abdou Simbila. 49-40. Oh, hold on. We're going to see what the call is here. Referee saying 1-1. Why would that be? Okay. Well, never mind. It's a shooting foul on Abdou Simbila. I'm going to go with what made sense the first time, and he's going to head to the line for 2 free throws. Simbila, 71.4% free throw shooter, is ready to try and add 2 onto Fordham's total. It was a 1-1. The first free throw no good for Abdou, so it's now St. Joe's ball. The foul was on the floor, and St. Joe's has 1 team foul here in the second half, so I don't understand the bonus. Xavier Brown, right corner, no good. Abdou Simbila with the rebound, and now it's in the hands of Fordham. Charlton on the right wing looks for Tripp, the freshman. Tripp inside with a post-entry feed for Simbila, and he draws contact. The Rams get fouled again, so that's on number 3, Cameron Brown from Laurel, Maryland. Colin, what do the Rams need to do here to score in these 20 seconds of shot clock?
Well, so far, you have to like what you're seeing from Abdou Simbila. I would be tempted to draw something up for him. He's doing an excellent job this afternoon of jockeying for position in the paint.
Well, here's Tripp attacking the paint himself. He goes up with it. It's no good. Simbila had the rebound after the play, but a foul was called, so Jameer Tripp will shoot 2. 72.4%, his mark of accuracy this season from the free throw line. He's got a .68 free throw rate this year, which means he's taken a lot of those compared to how many shots he gets up per game. It's a sign of how physical the 6'6 freshman can be.
And Kris, it goes without saying, the body language on the Fordham bench in the second half is drastically different from what it was in the first half. They now have some momentum, they feel, and if they can ride this wave towards the final minutes, we could be in for a very fun finish.
Fordham down 9. Didn't get any help from Tripp's first free throw, as it was no good. Here's the second free throw as the St. Joe's band counts the seconds it takes Tripp to shoot it. He misses it. Ramad Dean taps out the rebound, and it's a quick foul whistled against Dean. It'll go St. Joe's way, and Dean's, unsurprisingly, not too pleased. 49-40, 16-17 to go in the game. And it'll be Anthony Finkley, the freshman forward from right here in Philadelphia, inbounding to his high school teammate, Xavier Brown. They both went to Roman Catholic and win the 2023 Philly Catholic League. Brown, top of the key to Reynolds. Now inside to Kostra Klajic, the Polish forward that's wreaked havoc on the Rams. He's blocked by Tripp down low. It'll stay with St. Joe's, but there's your under 16. Colin, Fordham still down 9. How do we feel?
Well, judging on that last defensive stop made by Jameer Tripp, if you're a Fordham fan, you have to feel a lot better than you did at halftime, if for no other reason than they seem to be playing with a certain level of concentration. Often, that's what it comes down to when you're trying to mount a big comeback, Kris. Can you look at moments and chop them up into little pieces? Ultimately, you can't get it back all at once. It's about, can you have a smart possession this possession? And right now, Fordham playing smartly.
Well, Colin, that was Jameer Tripp's first ever block down there. So the freshman guard slash forward, Jameer Tripp, 6'6", 230. He's got that big physical frame we always talk about. Just logged his first ever block on the defensive end of the floor, and that brings Fordham to a point where they can say, hey, we haven't scored in a little bit, you know, but over the last 4 minutes and 25 seconds, they're on a 13-3 run. And the reason that that run has expanded out to now is not because they've continued to score and tack on points. It's because they've done a good job of stopping St. Joe's from doing the same. So for Fordham, first an offensive run, now a defensive run. They need to put those two together.
Without a doubt, Kris. And I think what needed to stop as far as St. Joe's was concerned was the uncontested threes. There were times in the first half when St. Joe's would get the ball on the perimeter and nobody would be there to even put up a hand on a three-point attempt. Fordham's doing a better job of stifling them at the point of attack so far in this second half. I would have to say, if you're looking to shuffle the lineup down the stretch, it's worth wondering if Fordham's going to go with a more defensive lineup or if they're trying to go searching for points. That's always the push-pull you're in when trying to make a comeback happen.
Well, Colin, for St. Joseph's, they were just 4 of 12 from 3 at our 41-21 score mark. And you take a look now, they're 5 of 20. So they're 1 of 8 since that stretch from downtown. That's not too great for them. The Rams, meanwhile, 1 of 4 from 3 in their last 4. No such luck themselves. Now, getting away from the poor statistical trends, you can just get a feel for the game. And it's pretty easy to say, hey, these Rams are coming back because they're playing smart and physical and hard defensively. That's going to be their calling card. Well, for Fordham, it's still a 9-point deficit as we get set to return from our under 16 media timeout here in Philadelphia. It's Eric Reynolds II here at the free throw line waiting for an inbound. Xavier Brown will be the 1-2 inbound, and it'll go to Reynolds in the right corner, but he can't get open. 5 seconds was about to be called until Charlton tipped away the inbounds pass to Essendoko. Now it's St. Joe's driving inside. Greer 1-2 inside, no good. Essendoko the rebound. 3 defenders with their hands straight up in the air for Fordham, but the foul on the shot for Essendoko. Too many bodies, too much contact. They tried to keep it clean, but hard to when you send 3 defenders to hack a guy.
And it's even harder to get a clean box out on Essendoko. He's a man amongst boys in the paint, Kris.
Well, Essendoko, a 66.7% free throw shooter this season, means he's good for 2 of every 3 for those who hate doing math at home. Doesn't get the first one to go. Brings St. Joe's down to 86% free throw shooting on the day. That's just ridiculous. He makes the second. So Essendoko 1 of 2 at the line. And it's now a 50-40 lead for the Hawks at home. Just 10 points, but it feels much bigger because this crowd's seen what they're capable of. Kyle Rose driving inside from the right, and the play's blown dead. We'll see what the whistle is. Fordham clapped at first, but now it's a timeout call. All right, timeout, Keith Ergo, apparently. So with a stoppage in play, Colin, we'll talk about the keys for the rest of the game for these squads. The referees are going to the table to deliberate and review and see if that foul had any sort of malintent behind it. I think that's all that's going on. Colin, 50-40, 15:30 to go in the second half. It was Kris Sandoko with the foul there that they're going to review. What's the feel here?
Well, first and foremost, I like this timeout call by Coach Ergo, if in fact it was called by Coach Ergo. I believe it was based on the possession arrow, Kris. But going forward, it's very important that you shuffle the lineup in the correct fashion. Right now, you are lucky to be within 10 points of St. Joe's, especially considering St. Joe's was up by as much as 26 at one time in this game. So now you have to kind of find that fine line between wanting to collect points and wanting to have the best possible defensive presence, and that might mean shuffling in and out an Abdul Sambila, a Ramai Dean, and Elijah Gray, seeing if one of those guys can get the hot hand, and then also feeding Kyle Rose, because clearly Kyle Rose has been on the money today. If anyone on this Fordham team has earned the right to be known as the man, it is Kyle Rose. So I think you have to let him do his thing and let him try to take you to the finish line here.
Colin, thank you as always for keeping it fresh here and telling us how you see it. Ramad Dean, these refs' favorite inbounder, looking inside. He finds Charlton at the free throw line extended. Bounce pass left to Rose, and it's Charlton in the right corner, was wide open, but the pass a little too far left, and he couldn't corral it in. The Rams blow an offensive possession. No apparent reason besides rushing it a bit. 25 seconds left on the shot clock for St. Joe's. Kris Sandoko inside, post feed to Klajic, and he goes up strong, but no good. Tripp with the rebound. It's 50-40 with 15 minutes, 5 seconds to go, and Jameer Tripp barreling inside, kicks out to Eli Gray. Top of the key, three, no good. The rebound in the hands of Tripp once more. It's outside to Charlton, and he's trying to settle things down now, bring them to a simmer. Antrell Charlton pull up from the free throw line, got it. Nothing but nails for Fordham, who trails now by just 8, 14:42 to go in the second half. Antrell Charlton loves that mid-range territory. When he's cooking from there, the offense has a different look. Sandoko to Reynolds, the open sidestep three from Eric Reynolds, no good. Antrell Charlton with the last second contest, and he just hit the deck for the rebound. Let's see what the call is. The referees are going to say the ball went out of bounds. Charlton dove on the ground for the basketball. Cameron Brown dove on top of him to try and stake his claim. It'll stay Fordham basketball here. Ramad Dean checking out, Josh Rivera checking in. So Fordham staying the same size, but going with a little bit different of a look positionally. Here are the Rams now trailing by 3 possessions, just 8 points. Cameron Brown's job is to find someone to inbound this basketball to. 50-year player in the Hawks gets it to the first-year player in Brown, and now Sandoko has it in the low post. He catches Rivera off guard, drives inside, goes up with the left hand, shot's no good, and after Fordham had already rebounded it, the referee calls a foul on Josh Rivera, so the play in transition is stopped. So Sandoko can go shoot free throws. Colin, a late call if I've ever seen one. Yeah, Kris, I don't know if that was a foul. Now, credit to Sandoko at his size. He's able to draw contact and really sell contact to the officials. That time, just mowing his way back towards the basket, and it's hard not to blow the whistle there if you're a referee, just as hard as it is sometimes to make the call. Sandoko, free throw, no good. The referee that called the foul is over there talking to head coach Billy Lang and nodding his head. He's in agreement with whatever Coach Lang has to say. Second free throw good for Sandoko, and Ergo, who was trying to get the ref's attention the whole time he was talking to Lang, was, I think, intentionally ignored. I would say if I were a referee, I'd probably also ignore Coach Ergo. A little intimidating there on the sideline, but here's Rivera in the post. Out to Elijah Gray. He's driving in strong now on Kris Sandoko. Goes up with it, gets his own board. Sandoko hits the deck, but it doesn't matter. St. Joe's is out in transition. It's 3-on-3, and Charlton fouls, so the play is blown dead. It's another foul called against the Fordham Rams. That'll be their 6th this half, I believe. Colin, so many fouls. That's 6 on the Rams this half as Jameer Tripp checks out. And Will Richardson checks in for the first time in the second half. He's back from the nose issue. Xavier Brown, left wing, trying to drive in on Elijah Gray. And the referees blow it dead. Now they give a technical foul to somebody. And I'm not sure what's going on here. I think the technical foul's on number 11, Xavier Brown. We'll see. We'll try to get a breakdown of this call. Colin, what do you think this call is?
It looks as if there was some chirping by Xavier Brown after the initial stoppage or foul call. So I'm a little bit perplexed by how now Fordham ended up with a technical shot.
It's a foul on Fordham. Kyle Rose is at the line. He just made the technical free throw for them. That's the first, now the second. Xavier Brown was whistled for a tech after Fordham committed the foul. Rose will take this second technical free throw and make it as his aunt stands up proudly from the crowd with peace signs. It's 51-44, St. Joe's ahead. Now Xavier Brown, who was fouled earlier, will take 2 free throws himself because of the foul from before. It was his reaction to being fouled that got him a nice, cold, hard technical that got the Rams 2 free points. Brown at the free throw line now is shooting 79.3% from there this season. He's an excellent shooter, Xavier Brown. He takes 9 three-pointers a game and has the 3rd highest three-point percentage in the entire A-10. That is beyond ridiculous, Colin, to take so many threes, 9 a game, and have that level of accuracy. 39.5% from the floor is Eric Reynolds' mark. 44.1% is Xavier Brown's mark. Just an unreal percentage to shoot on 9 threes per game. And, of course, the kid makes both free throws. So Brown makes it 53-44, St. Joe's. Antrell Charlton headed the other way. Bounce pass to Rose is stolen by none other than Xavier Brown. He goes up with it, blocked in transition. The putback up by Cameron Brown, and Abdou Simbila lands on top of him. The players are fine with everything going on, but the crowd looks like they're waiting for a fight to break out. That's Philly, folks. You love to see it. The passion from the fans.
And Abdou Simbila went up like Superman there, Kris. And I didn't know he was going to come down for sure. Had the arms extended and everything. But sometimes you got to make a hard foul to regain some momentum. Right now, Fordham trying to get some back here and there. You're not going to get it all back at once. Abdou Simbila made a hard play. Let's accept it for what it is.
Well, there's the 4th foul against Simbila for this game, so we'll see how long he stays in it as Richardson, driving inside, has it stolen. Medor gets it back. Step back, bails to Kyle Rose. And he'll have to pass inside to Simbila. Goes up off the glass. It's no good. He draws the contact, and a funny little reaction from Simbila, who knows how upset the crowd is at him getting that call. It's 55-44. St. Joe's in the lead with 13 minutes and 11 seconds to go in half number 2.
Kris, come on, you're in Philadelphia. Did you expect any less from a home crowd? They've been an engaged crowd all game long. They're going to let Abdou Simbila hear it. Let's just hope the Duracell batteries are hidden at home somewhere.
71.4 free throw percent shooter. Abdou Simbila gets the first to go. He's 0 of 1 from the line today, now 1 of 2, as he makes right on the miss earlier with the make now. 55-45 your score. 13-11 the time left on your clock here in Philadelphia. Simbila, second free throw, ready to go up and in. And it does. Abdou, shooting 71% on the season, gets both to go with the soft touch. He's second in the A-10 in blocks per game and about 8th in the NCAA entirely. So that's the A-10 for you. Not even top 5 in the country, but, you know. St. Joe's the other way. Quick bucket for Cameron Brown. Ran right at the rim and got it in. A little demoralizing for Fordham, down 57-46, but they'll try again nonetheless. Here's Richardson, right side. Taking his time, trying to penetrate the defense. Bails for Kyle Rose, his team's leader. Rose, crossover inside, right-handed floater is up and no good, but the rebound's in both hands of Abdou Tsambilla. He kicks out but has it stolen away by Fleming, so St. Joe's is off now. Eric Reynolds the second, driving inside, reverse layup, no good. Tsambilla got a fingertip on it, foul on the floor, we'll see on who. Might be Josh Rivera, we'll get the confirmation. The push on number 11. The Rams don't have a number 11. Okay. It'll be a 1-and-1. The foul is on Jaffe Medor. 2 free throws going to Christ Esendoko. So 1-and-1 for Esendoko. And like we said earlier, 67% free throws this season. He's shooting 4 of 6 today. That's exactly 67%. This time the miss came first, so there's no second shot. Esendoko's missed free throw rebounded by the Rams. Medor's taking it the offensive way now. He dumps off to Kyle Rose on the right wing. He kicks back to Medor. Left wing is Medor. He'll pull up from the right free throw line, extended, no good. Rebounded by Fleming, and now St. Joe's up 11 has a chance to make that grow. Xavier Brown driving in on Rose. Hasn't taken as many threes as he averages per game, just 4 3-point attempts from him. Eric Reynolds will take one here, though, and knock it in. Eric Reynolds counts 3 with his hand, and that's 60-46. The St. Joe's lead with 11:33 to go in half number 2.
Reynolds with an excellent look that time. Did a nice job of creating off the dribble. Didn't get too fancy with it either, though. Drilled the shot.
Medor, screen right from Tsambilla. Takes it inside, kicks out to Rivera. Rivera, left side of the court, drives inside, now kicks out to Rose at the top of the key. Here's Fordham with 4 seconds to go. Rose driving in, he'll have to throw something up. He does, and it rolls off the rim. Rose has his own rebound. It's in the hands of Richardson with 20 seconds to go on the shot clock. Medor, top of the key, drives in. Crossover saves him from getting stripped. Billy Lang's on the court cheering for the defense. Tsambilla inside, rolls it in off the glass. Abdou Tsambilla, public enemy number 1 in Philadelphia, racking up the points now. Kyle Rose, the leading Rams scorer with 22, but you can count Abdou up to 10. That's double digits for him as well. St. Joe's with 10:37 on the clock holds a 12-point lead. And they're into Christ Esendoko in the high post. Hand off to Cameron Brown. The pull-up shot is up and off the left side of the backboard. Fordham headed the other way, can make it single digits. Kyle Rose, no-look pass, stolen by Eric Reynolds. He wanted Tsambilla in the paint. Ergo unhappy with the poor decision. Brown the other way in transition. He scores in transition. Timeout, Coach Ergo. The St. Joe's Hawks take a 62-48 lead. Their fans up on their feet with 10:13 to go in the second half. Colin, what do you think of this last frame of play here?
Kris, as you mentioned, Coach Ergo supremely unhappy with that last Fordham turnover. He knows exactly where they are in this ball game. Now down by 14 points. Just a few moments ago, we were talking about Fordham beginning to creep up on the scoreboard, putting together an impressive comeback. That could still happen, but to do that, you have to stay disciplined. St. Joe's taking advantage of some Fordham miscues. We know how good of a shooting team they are as well. St. Joe's is not the kind of team you're going to roll over. If you want to come back against them, that's even more of a challenge.
100%, Colin. And they play so fast, St. Joe's. It's just their brand of basketball. They're going to put you in a race and leave you in the dust. I mean, you take a look at the numbers for them on the season. St. Joe's just scores so much, but we'll talk about it when we get back from our break here. You're going to get another scoreboard update from Griffin Stevenson back in the Bronx. Griffin, take us away.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
It's a great Saturday to be a fan of some basketball. In the A-10, George Washington is hoping to revolutionize their season as they head to Philly to challenge the LaSalle Explorers. Near the top of the conference, the Patriots of George Mason look to defend home court against the Duquesne Dukes. Both of those games will tip off shortly. Over to ranked play, we head to Carolina. It's the Gators versus the Gamecocks in a battle of the nation's 24th and 18th ranked teams. South Carolina leads 77-74 with 30 seconds left. Down south, the 7th ranked Kansas Jayhawks are looking to take down the 15th ranked Baylor Bears in Waco. The Bears lead by 1 at halftime. Up north, it's the 13th in the nation Fighting Illini in Madison, Wisconsin to battle the Badgers. Illinois is up 39-37 at the half. At 2:30, it's a marquee matchup between NCAA championship hopefuls Marquette and Creighton in Omaha, Nebraska. In nighttime NBA action, it's the Nuggets hoping to strike gold against the Lakers during a primetime matchup at the Crypto.com Arena. I'm Griffin Stevenson with your one-on-one scoreboard.
Welcome back inside Hawk Hill. The fans are up on their feet and dancing here in Philadelphia for the St. Joe's lead, 62-48 with 10 minutes and 13 seconds left in the second half. I'm Kris Pursiainen here alongside Colin Loughran, excited to be here for WFUV Sports, taking you through this Saturday afternoon 8-10 matchup. Medore, Richardson, Charlton, Dean, and Gray, the five-man lineup for the Rams right now. Kyle Rose and Abdou Tsambilla each getting a breather. Charlton and Tsambilla have 3 fouls each. The Rams have the ball in their own offensive half. It's Will Richardson on the right wing with it now. Richardson bounces to Gray, who shoots a deep three. Elijah Gray, no good. Offensive rebound corralled by Ramad Dean. He spins right inside with the left hand. It's no good. Third try from Dean is up and in. Dean with 2 offensive rebounds. Persistence the key for Fordham there. It's 62-50, 9.5 minutes to go.
That was an effort bucket, Kris. That wasn't the result of talent or skill. That was just about wanting to go get it and putting the pumpkin right back up off the glass.
And the Fordham bench is fired up. The referee just told them to stay back because they were bleeding onto the court, excited. Reynolds, pull-up Jimbo, no good off the iron. So Will Richardson has the board and will take it the other way. He finds Jaffe Medore, the lineup's true point guard. Attacking Klajic with the size mismatch is Medore. He throws it up at the rim, hoping for a call, and he gets nothing. Xavier Brown headed from left to right, and home whites for St. Joe's. That's Eric Reynolds at the top of the key. Over to Klajic, right wing. Mismatch with Richardson on him. Klajic kicks to the left corner. Xavier Brown's there for him. Brown driving on Richardson, behind the back, pass inside to Klajic. Easiest 2 he'll see all day, and it's no good, but he gets his own rebound and knocks it in. Kasper Klajic laughing on his way back on defense. The first layup, no good. Jaffe Medore for Fordham. It's 64-50. Richardson, left wing. 8 minutes, 30 seconds to go, and Richardson's driving inside. Hezzy blocked at the rim, but that's a foul. Richardson will shoot 2. He gets slammed into the stands. Luckily, there's padding there for the video crew. But Richardson went flying into St. Joe's video guy. The broadcaster with the camera is actually shaking out his knee right now because he had a 6-foot-tall, 180-pound guard go flying into it.
And it should be noted the dimensions here are a little bit different from what it is at Rose Hill.
A little tight.
It's a tight court. Of course, there's not a big gap between the baseline and the first row of bleachers. So to sacrifice your body takes a bit more courage here.
I don't have a measuring tape on me, but I'd say it's about 2 feet from the first bleacher to the out-of-bounds region of the court. That's real close. Will Richardson's first free throw is good. The Rams need to size up. So they take out Jaffe Medore and bring in Jameer Tripp. The lineup is Charlton, Richardson, Dean, Tripp, and Gray. A young, inexperienced 5 for Fordham. It's 3 sophomores, a freshman, and a senior on the court. Richardson's free throw hit back iron, back iron again, and then rolled out. So it's no good for Fordham. Reynolds, the second, takes it the other way with a 64-51 lead. Here's Xavier Brown. Back to Reynolds, back to Brown. A little hot potato for the 2 guards as the Hawks look to get set. 10 seconds on the shot clock. A wide open left corner 3 is an air ball from Cameron Brown, so now it's headed the other way. Elijah Gray corrals it in transition. He's got a couple Rams open. If he wants them, he'll go up with it in the post and knock it in off the glass. Eli Gray, a nice, easy 2 points, makes it an 11-point lead for St. Joe's, 64-53 with 7:45 left.
And that was a confident take from Elijah Gray. Tough for a sophomore to make that decision between passing it off or doing it himself.
Xavier Brown, oh my, crosses over left to right as close to the ground as you can get. Takes it inside, hop steps, doesn't get the shot to go, but he's fouled, and it looked like an NBA move from Xavier Brown. You can see the NBA skeleton of the St. Joe's Hawks. They play fast, they run complicated offensive sets that free up shooters in movement or for catch and shoot spot up looks. It's really impressive to see Billy Lange's NBA experience translate here at the collegiate level. The offensive sets are gorgeous, but for us here in the Bronx, we'll be right back with you. It's a media timeout. You're listening to Fordham men's basketball on 90.7 WFUV Sports. Stay tuned.
Hey everyone, I'm Will Grant.
And I'm Kris Pursiainen.
And we're two of the hosts for WFUV's very own basketball podcast, Pick and Pod.
Tune in weekly for updates and our takes on the latest around the NBA, as well as exclusive insight from our very own Knicks and Nets beat reporters.
We'll have you covered on everything from all of the NBA's latest drama we know and love,
to debating all year long which team will get to lift that golden Larry O'Brien in June.
So don't miss a beat from the hardwood on WFUV's Pick and Pod.
Welcome back inside Hawk Hill. I'm Kris Pursiainen here for WFUV Sports 90.7 FM alongside Colin Loughran, my esteemed colleague. And with a 64-53 lead over the Fordham Rams, the St. Joe's Hawks have had everything go their way today. Colin, they've had the lead for 31 minutes and 57 seconds of today's contest. Their biggest lead was 26 points. The Rams, lucky to be back in it, down just 11. Have enough time for one final stand here in the game's final 7.5.
And Fordham certainly had an opportunity to really give St. Joseph's a scare and ultimately come back. St. Joe's is only shooting 30% from the field in the second half, only 12.5% from range in that same time span.
St. Joe's, Colin, here with
Freudian.
7:36 to go in the second half. And only in the A-10 do you get moments like these. A low-scoring start to the game, 64-53, with 7 minutes and 36 seconds to go in half number 2. And the fans here at home, honestly, Colin, they're a little anxious right now. I think they're getting a little nervous about their team maybe blowing it at home. I think the concept worries them more than the reality, though, because up 11 in the A-10, that's a nice cushion.
Without a doubt, and I think part of the angst that you're alluding to is the fact that Fordham played with such confidence while that comeback was beginning to bubble.
Well, the first free throw, good for Xavier Brown. No surprise there. It's a 65-53 lead. 7 minutes, 36 seconds to go. And the second free throw, good for Xavier Brown. So even though the Hawks are 1 of 9 on their last 9 threes, they've still got a nice lead. Cameron Brown ruled for the foul. And the Fordham Rams are going to huddle up as quick as they can. So Cameron Brown, number 3, picks up his second foul for St. Joe's. That's their 8th of the second half. That'll give Jameer Tripp a 1-and-1 at the free throw line.
And you got to chuckle, Kyle Rose showing some real visible frustration at the moment. He knows where Fordham is. They're not close enough to say that this is a ball game, but they're also not far away enough to feel like it's completely over.
Well, the free throw, no good, much to the chagrin of the Rams bench, but headed the other way are the Hawks. Brown and Reynolds playing some hot potato with it. It winds up in the hands of Reynolds. Now back to Brown. Xavier Brown inside to Klajic. It's one-on-one with Tripp, so he'll go up with it off the glass. It's Kasper Klajic, number 0 from Chorzów, Poland. The junior forward making the most of his looks today. Fordham the other way as Klajic is up to 15 points. Elijah Gray, right wing 3, no good. Rebounded by none other than Klajic, and Xavier Brown's headed the Hawks' way. Those wings still flapping, out of bounds by the mascot as Cameron Brown drives inside and finishes strong with 2 hands off the glass. Keith Ergo is so ragingly upset right now. He's telling Zach Riley to hit the scorer's table and check in. I think that'll spell the end of this tenure on the court for Jameer Tripp. The defensive breakdown from the freshman, too much for the second-year head coach to handle.
And Cameron Brown just cutting his way towards the paint, finishing with a basket. As you said, Kris, that's probably going to be the dagger, the nail in Fordham's metaphorical coffin this afternoon. They tried to mount a comeback, but ultimately couldn't stay as consistent as they wanted to in the second half. St. Joe's just did a very good job from the start of bubbling their lead and were able to weather the storm, so to speak, when Fordham made things a bit dicey.
Well, Colin, when you're down 26 points and you make the deficit just 9, hope is going to ring out everywhere that you can close that job. You get 17 points closer than you were before. The expectation is going to be that you can finish that out strong. Here's Zach Riley in the game now for Fordham. In as punishment for Jameer Tripp. The freshman now on the sideline. He played just 8 minutes last time out. He's logged 14 today. 3 points, 2 rebounds on 1 of 3 shooting, 1 of 5 from the free throw line for Tripp. Ramad Dean, top of the key 3, is blocked by Rasheer Fleming. Outlet pass in transition, stolen by Richardson. It's going back the Rams' way. Fordham's got to be smart here. Kyle Rose with his left hand on top of the Hawk. Gets inside. Ball goes to Zach Riley on the left wing. He's looking for someone in the left corner, but no one's home. Kyle Rose, right wing, with it now for the Rams. 10 seconds on the shot clock. He'll pull up from the right wing for 3 and nail it. 70-56, the St. Joe's lead now. Kyle Rose knocks in a 3, brings the Rams to 22% from downtown on the day. No good, Colin, but something.
And every time Fordham seems to be dead, Kyle Rose does one more good thing to keep them in the conversation.
Fleming out to Cameron Brown, who's driving inside now. Xavier Brown wide open for 3, doesn't shoot it. Fascinating. Bounce pass to Klajic, now Reynolds has it. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Maybe they'll give Brown the 3 he should have taken earlier. Reynolds will take it with 1 foot. Oh my Lord. Folks, Eric Reynolds II, with 1 second left on the shot clock, just stepped through and threw up a 3-pointer from Wilmington, Delaware off of 1 foot. That 3-pointer went in. St. Joe's leads 73-56. Will Richardson takes the 3 down the other way, misses, and St. Joe's has the rebound, so they're up 17, and they have the lead. It's Xavier Brown, and he's got a 6th teammate now, Colin, the clock, his new best friend.
Yeah, St. Joe's definitely has time on their side. All they have to do is keep this thing exactly where it is.
73-56, and Rasheer Fleming just got an and one dunk. He dunks it off the front of the iron. The foul gets called. The ball flies up in the air and into the hoop. 2 absolute circus shots for St. Joe's on their last 2 possessions that do require immense skill to have happen. For the Hawks, this is not just luck, right? This is them making the most of their opportunities, and now they're up 75-56 here with 4 minutes and 41 seconds to go in the second half. You can't call that luck. You just can't write it away like that. You can't duck accountability for the poor defense. You got to play 24 seconds as Antrell Charlton pulls up from the free throw line and gets it to go. By the time the team has the ball at the half-court line, there's about 24 seconds on the shot clock. You got to play out that full 24 seconds, the full 30-second shot clock. So for the Fordham Rams, they trail 76-58. And it's Xavier Brown dribbling it out slowly on top of the St. Joseph's Hawk at center court. Double team comes from Timbilla and Richardson. So now Cameron Brown's wide open in the right corner. The shot will go up but not go in, and Will Richardson has the rebound. Right corner three from Kyle Rose just gets launched up in the air, and it's no good. That'll be out of bounds. Coach Ergo really upset with Antrell Charlton, but I'd be upset with everyone on the court at this point, Colin. You're down 76-58. You were down 26. You bring it to 9, and then all of a sudden, there you are, back down 20 points. So for Fordham, it was a 17-point margin, now an 18-point one. And as they're down 76-58, Colin, it's not looking good for their chances of victory here as we close this one out.
Chris, in some ways, the second fall is almost more disappointing for Fordham than the initial way in which they started this game. You can get down early, but once you fight back, you're expected to play with that same level of intensity for the duration of the contest. To let the foot off the gas as they have for the last couple of minutes is not a good sign as they head towards the final 2 games of their season. This was a game that would have meant a lot to Fordham. It could be argued that this game meant more to Fordham than it did to St. Joe's. St. Joe's is a team that feels like they could have some competitive contests against teams like VCU, Dayton, Loyola, Chicago. Fordham is trying to climb into that conversation. To win this game on the road would have meant a great deal to them. It's a shame if you're a Fordham fan that intensity didn't carry over for the duration of the second half.
Well, the Hawks 7-8 in conference play. The Rams 6-9. It'll be a big win for St. Joe's here at home. We're going to send it back to our Rose Hill studios. It's your under 4 media timeout, which means you get to hear one last scoreboard update from Griffin Stevenson. Griffin, tell the folks about the scores in some other games. Take it away.
One-on-one scoreboard.
It's a great Saturday to be a fan of some basketball. In the A-10, George Washington is hoping to revolutionize their season as they head to Philly to challenge the LaSalle Explorers. The teams are tied at 10 midway through the first half. Over to ranked play, we head to Carolina. It's the Gators versus the Gamecocks in a battle between the nation's 24th and 18th ranked teams. South Carolina came away with a statement 82-76 victory over SEC rivals Florida. In another SEC matchup, the 16th ranked Kentucky Wildcats are looking to defend home court against the unranked Arkansas Razorbacks. It's Kentucky with a 51-45 lead with a minute left in the first half. The 7th ranked Jayhawks are looking to take down the 15th ranked Baylor Bears down in Texas. The Jayhawks lead by 3 early in the second half. Up north, it's the 13th in the nation fighting Illinois in Madison, Wisconsin to battle the Badgers. Illinois is up 47-45 with 15 minutes left in the second half. In nighttime NBA action, it's the Nuggets hoping to strike gold against the Lakers during a primetime matchup at the Crypto.com Arena. I'm Griffin Stevenson with your one-on-one scoreboard.
Welcome back inside Hagen Arena. I'm Kris Pursiainen here with Colin Loughran, taking you through the second half of this Saturday afternoon A-10 action for WFUV Sports as Will Richardson drives inside, kicks to Rose in the left corner, and the Rams are down 76-58, looking for a bucket here. Rose, step back 3 from the left wing, nothing but net. They gave the points to St. Joe's on the scoreboard. They're so used to giving the Hawks points over the Rams. I don't even blame them. 76-61, the Hawks lead now. 3 minutes, 29 seconds remain in our second half of play. And Fordham running out of time to mount a comeback will likely lose here on the road. St. Joe's with their 6th teammate on the floor. The clock will dribble it out. They've got nothing but time here, folks. Double team comes at half court for Xavier Brown. That leaves Cameron Brown wide open under the basket. He goes up with it. Kyle Rose slams it against the backboard, but they're going to rule goaltending there. So for Rose, 2 points for St. Joe's, 78-61. Your score now is 3 minutes and 15 seconds remain in this rout of the Rams.
And Rose gets called for the goaltend, but the hustle to even get to the basket is unheard of at this time in the game. He knows Fordham's down. He's trying to provide a jolt of energy. That's what's expected of him as a leader, and he's going above and beyond today.
78-61, the St. Joe's lead, and Fordham loses their offensive possession. It'll go the other way. An illegal screen on number 55, Josh Rivera, will result in it being St. Joe's ball. Reynolds the second will inbound with a bounce pass to Greer the third, and now he faces a double team in the backcourt. It's up to Klajic, who's one-on-one with Rivera. Now a double team from Rose will force him to bail out to Greer. So Lynn Greer the third, another hometown kid. Lots of Philadelphia residents here on the St. Joe's roster. The junior guard will drive inside. Greer looking for a teammate. Gives it up, and it's hit away by Ramad Dean. Will Richardson gets the steal, and he's off and away in transition. Sails it into the third row of the stands. Was looking for Abdou Tsimbila down low, but he's on the bench, Colin. That's the Rams' usual play, is to dump it to the big, but Abdou's on the bench. That means they're playing 5 out. No one was home.
It's a compliment to Abdou Tsimbila and the job he did today in the paint offensively. I mean, a route for sure, but still some positives can be taken away from his personal play.
Greer running the other way, gets fouled quick. 2 minutes and 36 seconds remain in the second half. And the foul's on number 24, Antrell Charlton of the Fordham Rams. The score is 78-61. Again, 2 minutes 36 to go. That's the Rams' 10th team foul. Antrell Charlton just picked up his 5th personal foul. He'll head to the bench because his day is over. 4 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 personal fouls, and 4 turnovers. The final tally for Antrell Charlton, who coming into today's game was averaging 43 assists and 15 turnovers after the last 12 games. For Charlton, being effective and efficient with his offensive touches is his calling card. Greer's free throw went in, so it's 79-61. St. Joe's, of course, still in the lead. Will Richardson checking out, you assume, for what will be the final time today. Richardson with 1 point in today's contest on 0 of 3 shooting. Took some really hard hits in the first half with a bloodied nose, sat out most of it. Still logged 23 minutes of play as Kyle Rose gets another 3 to go for the Fordham Rams. Take a look at what he's doing for this team today. He's up to 31 points. Eric Reynolds headed the other way for St. Joe's, and Kyle Rose, I mean, his career high has been blown through. This is the most points he has ever scored in a game at 31, and it's ridiculously impressive to see him perform at this level. Xavier Brown inside with the left hand. And it's not an and one, it's a St. Joe's timeout to talk things over. Fordham will head to their huddle. St. Joe's will head to theirs. Colin, at this point, down 81-64. There's nothing left to do for the Fordham Rams, but to credit Kyle Rose for his performance today. 31 points, 10 of 18 shooting, 7 of 11 from three-point range, and a perfect 4 of 4 from the field. He added 6 rebounds and only 2 personal fouls. In conference play thus far, Rose is averaging 13.5 points and 5.5 rebounds, but you take a look at 4 of his last 5 games, he scored in double digits. So only 1 single-digit scoring performance anytime recently for Rose. Now a 30-point game. Kyle Rose's career high with Fordham, 26 points before today. He set a career high at Rhode Island with 24. He blew past it again with 26. And then he scored 26 again after that, tying that career high. Now, Rose with 31 points, a new career high. He's still out there for the Rams as he drives inside. Can't finish through contact. Dean with the rebound. He's fouled first. So we'll see what happens, but for now it's 81-64. And that was the 9th team foul for the Hawks.
And you can see Coach Ergo speaking to Kyle Rose now, and Coach Ergo seems a bit deflated. Not his normal fiery self, especially not the fiery version of him that Fordham fans have been seeing the past 2 or 3 games or so. So Fordham understands they had an opportunity to come in here and do something pretty unique, but they just failed to play a consistent style of basketball. They failed to not beat themselves.
And as we get into trivia here, Colin, Ramad Dean, first free throw goes in, so he'll get a second. Dean spent the offseason with Buddy Hield, who's now a Philadelphia 76er. As the second free throw goes in, you can see where the improved shooting stroke came from. He's a 38% three-point shooter this year. Ramad Dean really helping these Rams. He's up to 15 minutes a game after being at about 12 throughout the non-conference stretch. Been starting recently and shoring up the defensive physicality. It's Medor, Riley, Rose, Rivera, and Dean, the five-man lineup for Fordham right now, as Xavier Brown is just dribbling out this shot clock. He'll attack now and pull up from downtown. It's no good off the left iron. Rivera elevates for the rebound and gets it to Kyle Rose. Zach Riley driving inside with some aggression. Layup is no good off the left iron. Riley tried to steal it, but it was a kicked ball, so it'll head the other way. Here's number 14 for the Fordham Rams, Albie Evans, replacing Kyle Rose. Albie Evans gets in, folks, when the score is a lot to a little, whether it's Fordham on either end. The senior gets rewarded for his hard work and practice with court time, and that's big this season. It's big for attitude. That's what Fordham talks about, and Albie, always willing to take on those scout team responsibilities for the team, helps a lot in practice.
Albie Evans, certainly a great locker room guy to have around, and always happy to see him get an opportunity for Fordham.
81-66. Might just be the final margin of victory unless St. Joe's tacks some more on here. It's Xavier Brown whipping it to Klajic. Triple teamed by defenders, and a foul is called. These referees don't want anyone going home. Here come the walk-ons and bench warmers for St. Joe's. Response to the Evans substitution. Both coaches throwing in their white flags, and for St. Joe's, it's a couple older students checking in. One of them, Brian Geetons, the senior guard from Harleysville, Pennsylvania. He's played in 5 games this year. Last time out was LaSalle. He went 0 of 1 from the floor. Yole Akawovo comes in for the Rams, and some of the important Hawks check out. Xavier Brown, Cameron Brown, and Eric Reynolds II. It's all bench guys now for St. Joe's. Klajic at the line. He couldn't be subbed out. Cooper Vogel, the senior from Howell, New Jersey, checks in as well. And the third of the bench warmers there looks to be Kris Arizin from Media, Pennsylvania, the senior guard. He actually made a shot against LaSalle on January 15th. Ramad Dean, right wing three, no good off the iron. It's back to Dean, spinning inside and winning in the post is Ramad Dean. That's an and one for Fordham. They'll have a little bit of something to lean on for pride's purposes here at the end.
Remember, Kris, these are minutes for the guys that typically don't get time. Yole Aklovo and Albie Evans, perhaps a Noah Best in a similar situation other times this year. These minutes still count for those guys trying to prove that they deserve playing time.
Ramad Dean cashes in from the charity stripe, makes it a three-point play for the Rams. It's 82-69. The Hawks in the lead. It's a full court press from Fordham. They don't want these walk-ons to have it easy. And Ramad Dean just injured his ankle jumping to contest the Geetons pass. Fordham gets the steal. Albie Evans takes it the other way, and he kicks up to Medor. Medor to the right corner for Evans. He wanted to shoot a three. His teammate's playing hot potato to get him the ball. He's got to bail. Ramad Dean, 3 seconds left in the game. The Rams won't shoot. There's the horn, and your score is final. 82-69. The St. Joe's Hawks take the win on the road for the Rams, at home for the Hawks. It was a really brutal performance, honestly, for the Fordham Rams in the first half, and it's definitely something that didn't continue into the second half was the shooting percentages. Fordham increased theirs by at least 8% going into the second half, and that's impressive because it shows the fight, the attitude needed to be down 26 and to make it a 7-point deficit. The problem, it ballooned back out. So Fordham, losers here on the road. Their 2-game win streak becomes a 1-game losing streak. They're now 6-10 in conference and 12-17 on the season. For the St. Joseph's Hawks, they improved to 18-11. They're an even 500, 8-8 in conference, and they are now 13-3 at home. The Hawks are a dominant force when at home. With us now is assistant coach Dwan McMillan. He'll be joining us for our post-game interview. Coach, can you hear us all right?
Yeah, I can hear you, KP.
We're here with Fordham assistant coach Dwan McMillan. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us after this performance on the road. For Fordham, it was another game with this new starting lineup, and today it didn't have the immediate early returns you wanted, but the comeback was there. The 26-point deficit was 7 at one point. Is that attitude, being able to fight back?
I think today the other guys killed us. Zero, who averages 3 or 4 points, he has 16, 6, and 6. I think when you look at his numbers, he didn't have that all year. And if you look at the score, we lost by, I think, 16. I don't want to put everything on his 16, 6, and 6, but I think he emphasized it.
Kyle Rose did all he could offensively today. He's been one of the leaders for a long time now at Fordham. What can you say about the effort he put in this afternoon?
He put the, I like to say, the Louis Vuitton knapsack on. He put it on. He tried to carry us, but he didn't have any help. He needed weak side help from that, and I think that the other guys got to do a better job of helping him out.
Will Richardson, we saw him take a pretty hard hit in the first half. Any updates on how he's doing? We saw he was back out there for the second.
That was actually his best friend that got him.
Really?
Yeah, kind of poked him in the eye. And it's going to be probably pretty bad the next 48 hours. I think he'll be all right, though. He's tough.
Coach, thank you so much. Colin, your last question?
2 games left on the season. How critical is it that those 2 games, you guys play a full 40 minutes of Fordham basketball?
I think it's essential. I think you're going to see it. I think we do a great job of bouncing back after losses, and I think we're going to have a great attitude going forward. I think we're going to finish well.
Coach, thank you so much for the time. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate that.
That was Fordham assistant coach Dwan McMillan joining us on the airwaves. We thank him profusely for his time and expertise after the game, as well as the update on guard Will Richardson, who seems like he'll be all right. For the Fordham Rams, an 82-69 defeat on the road. That brings them on the season to just 6-10 in conference play. Colin, it seemed like they were inching up on that infamous pillow fight in the A-10 for those final seedings of bye weeks, but what do we see here now? 2 games left in the whole season.
I think you're seeing a team that can show fight but is imperfect in terms of its construction and maturity. Ultimately, Fordham's postseason hopes will boil down to their ability to get hot at the right time. Now, heading into this one, we thought perhaps this was indeed that time where they were getting hot. 2 straight wins, a chance to close out the year really on a roll. You still have an opportunity to do that. 2 games left, UMass and University of Rhode Island, 2 teams that you can beat. Some similarities between those 3 squads holistically. So for Fordham, it's going to be important that you wash this one off. You don't let it get into your head. You reset and get ready for the next one on the slate.
Colin, I couldn't have said it better for myself. You got to dump the tape. You know, it's just the reality of an outing like this. You come out on the road, you go down by 26 early. You've got about 100 Fordham fans in the building. You rally back with their help, and honestly, just the production of Kyle Rose being that anchor for the Rams that at least keeps them tethered to something. As D-Max said post-game, he had the Louis V on today. He got in his bag 31 points, 10 of 19 from the floor, 7-11 from downtown, but too little too late was Fordham's comeback effort.
And Kyle Rose put it all out on the court. I know we're talking about the stats of it all, but you could see body language each and every possession. He wanted it more than the next guy on his team, maybe even more than the next guy on St. Joe's team. So for Kyle Rose, this year is about so much more than just one season or one game. It really is the culmination of his time at Fordham. So for him to step up this afternoon, another example of what he's been able to do for them long term. 2 games left in the regular season. Who knows what happens in the A-10 tournament, Kris?
Well, Colin, we've got Will Jing and Griffin Stevenson back in the studio. Who better than those 2 to recap this loss for Fordham? I think the listeners at home have had enough of us here in Philadelphia. We're going to wrap things up by thanking our crew back in the studio, thanking the crew here at St. Joe's for helping us get set up nice and easy, and thanking our listeners for tuning in today. Stay tuned for the postgame show with Will Jing and Griffin Stevenson. You're listening to Fordham Men's Basketball on 90.7 FM WFUV Sports.
The one-on-one post-game report.
The spectacular play from Kyle Rose continued into the second half for this game against St. Joseph's, where Fordham took an L 82-69 on the road. It's unfortunate because Kyle Rose, in this career game that he had with 31 points, he shot 7 for 11 from 3, 10 for 19 from the field. He didn't really get too much help, and then on the other side, St. Joseph's was just all around making it happen. They had 5 players score in double figures, and they were able to walk away with this win, and now St. Joseph's improves to 18-11, while Fordham drops to 12-17.
You know, as you mentioned, it was an amazing performance by Kyle Rose, but I really want to focus on the all-around performance from St. Joseph's. Heard coach at the end of the game say even their guys that like Kasper Klejcik, who averaged around like 3 points a game, put up 16 tonight, multiple players with double-digit scoring. And I think it's just they showed that consistency that Fordham was lacking today. Huge points discrepancy, especially among the Fordham players. I think that's something that really needs to be ironed out as we head closer to tournament time. We talked about a little bit before how this Fordham team has kind of always been known as the one that comes back from behind, and they're a scrappy bunch. But I think we're reaching that point where we have to start looking and addressing why is it that we are having these poor starts, because they fixed most of the problems that we were talking about in the second half, especially with regards to shooting, increased their field goal percentage to 41% from 29%. And I think that just wasn't enough today. And at the end of the day, it was their poor start that killed them.
Yeah, they were able to get back into the game a little bit. There was a point where they were down by about 10. But, I mean, again, just there wasn't enough support. They continued to turn the ball over. They had another 7 turnovers in the second half. St. Joseph's only had 8 for the entire game. And we talked a little bit about the free throw shooting before we came on the air. You mentioned specifically that this team is shooting 12 for 19 today from the stripe. So that is just not going to fly. They shot 41% from the field. Not horrible, but, I mean, St. Joseph shot 46.2%. So, I mean, this team, and we heard Kris and Colin talk about it, the energy just didn't seem like it was there for the Rams. And then on the other side, St. Joseph's was just dominating all around. I mean, Kasper Klejcik just continued his spectacular play into the second half, ended on 7 for 11 shooting from the field with 6 boards and 6 assists. So, I mean, the way Fordham played today just wasn't going to get it done.
And I think a lot of the players out there knew that, especially Kyle Rose, who was obviously pretty frustrated because he was having such a career performance. And we heard Kris and Colin touch on this towards the end of the game when it was far away where it's not quite you can get back into this, but it's also not far enough where you have to give up. Kyle Rose was out there trying to just will his team to keep fighting, and I think that's the mentality you have to instill in these players. And going back to what you mentioned about free throws, Fordham cannot seem to get their free throw shooting together, and it is an issue that has been plaguing this team for the entire season, and I think it's something that they desperately need to figure out before the tournament. The only person out there who shot 100% from the free throw line was Kyle Rose, who, like we mentioned already, was having an amazing game. So there is something obviously going on in this team because, quite frankly, 60% from the free throw line is just not good enough. I don't know whether I'm sure they're focusing on it in practice, but I wonder if there's extra steps that could be taken to sort of improve the team's mentality when they get to the line.
Well, actually, Ramad Dean also shot 100% from
Ramad
the line
Dean,
today.
okay.
Yeah, 3 for 3. But, I mean, Jameer Tripp, 1 for 5. I mean, probably one of the reasons why Coach Ergo didn't seem too happy with him. And, like I think Kris mentioned near the end of the game that Kyle Rose is just very frustrated. And you have to be able to understand that because 31 points, I mean, almost half the team's scoring load. It just, like we mentioned this at the half, and I just hate to rehash the same point, but it's just like there wasn't any help. The guys that we thought were going to step up that we talked about at half did not. Jafet Medora ended up with 5 points. Antrell Charlton only ended up with 4 points. He had 4 turnovers to go along with it and fouled out of the game. So there was that. That's certainly not going to help. And then, obviously the Will Richardson injury. Elijah Gray only had 6 points. So just really not a lot of positives to go around. I mean, statistically, this game was subpar, but not horrendous for this team. But at the end of the day, all these things are just going to add up, and you can't do that and then expect to pull out a win. And honestly, just 12-16 is, for the way that this team has been playing throughout the season, it's not bad, but this team has a lot of different things that they need to get together moving into the next season.
What I think the key takeaway from this game has to be is, especially for someone like Kyle Rose, is it would be very simple and very easy to go into the locker room after this game and kind of get on your teammates. And I think, sure, you need to push your teammates to perform a little better, but I think this is a really good opportunity for Kyle Rose in particular to distinguish himself as a leader among this group of guys and to sort of say, like, hey, I put up this performance and I know you guys are also capable of doing the same thing. I think this could be kind of a crossroads for this team heading into the tournament. And also, one more thing before we conclude things, I want to wish Will Richardson a speedy recovery because he did get poked in the eye there, and they say hopefully over the coming days he will get a bit better. But as you were telling me before, those eye injuries are no joke.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that will hurt for probably a day or so. I did get poked in the eye last week, so I do want to give one shout out before we get going to Abdou Simbila. He actually did step up a little bit. 4 rebounds on the game, 3 offensive boards, 10 points. So he was the second leading scorer for this Rams team. Let's just hope this Rams team turns us around and is able to win some games for the rest of the season. But that'll do it for this one-on-one post-game report for this Fordham basketball broadcast. I'm Will Jing. I had Griffin Stevenson with me. Brian Raybacks is our producer. We had Trey Rodriguez behind the scenes as well. Bobby Chaffardini is the sports director here at WFUV, and this was a production of WFUV Sports.